everybody. Welcome to another glorious episode of Jeff Has Cool Friends. It's me. It's Jeff May from the show that you're listening to. I'm so bad at starting these. Welcome. I am very excited to have my next cool friend. I have known her for a little over a year. She is one of my absolute favorite new friends. She's super, super talented. She is a super nerd. You might know her from Evil Geniuses. You might know her from her very popular Twitch channel. Let's give it up for Lisa Wallen, everyone.
Yay!
Hey, how
Shout
you doing,
out
buddy?
to being a nerd.
Yeah. You are. I see a lot of my tendencies in you, the nerdy stuff. I see you in two spaces that I am not necessarily a part of, and I am fascinated by it.
Nice.
Because you're, I guess, identifying characteristics is not necessarily a fair thing to say, but you are big into anime and gaming.
Yeah, I mean, if you can look behind me, you can see
Yeah.
I sleep next to Virgil every night before I go to bed. He protects me.
Virgil is a character from
Devil May Cry.
Yeah, I knew that one.
It's okay if you
That's been
don't.
around for a while. I knew that one. I knew that. And that's about it. I'm actually interested. I think I'm going to learn a lot in this podcast from you, which is really exciting.
I say a lot. So yes, you'll learn anything that you want to ask. I probably have too much knowledge about it because that's who I am as a person.
I mean, this is how we have careers, I think, because I tend to be, I'm Western animation primarily and comic books and stuff like that. And gaming is actually something that I have to actively avoid because I will lose my career.
Same. That's why I had to make a career out of it.
You have a career. Yeah, like you did the thing. You did it right. You're doing it.
I have no self-control is what it is. And I was like, what can I do with this addiction?
Yeah. People, I get told that I need to stream on Twitch a lot. And they're like, you should start gaming. You should play this game. And I'm like, okay, here's the deal. I have 38 podcasts. If I were to start streaming, if you were to give me Skyrim, which someone has done, and they say, play this whenever you have free time, I will never stop playing it. And then I will die. Like that Korean kid at that internet cafe.
Yep.
Like just 96 hours until I starve to death and go crazy.
That's me now, but like, I'm like, hey, you guys can donate to this addiction. And then they do. And then I'm like, well, I guess I'll keep going.
Do they like, so you have about 10,000 subscribers on Twitch.
I wish subscribers, followers.
What's the difference?
So subscribers are people who pay to watch you. Oh. Followers are people who follow you. And then viewers are people who are actively viewing. So like my view, usually like I'm a partnered streamer, which means if you have 75 average or more, that means that you're considered a big streamer, which is very funny because there's a massive gap between big famous streamers and then people like me. Cause it's like my average is like 80 to 100, but like the ones who make like real money on it, their average is like over 1,000. So it's a massive wage and viewer gap between like, maybe I think they did the whole, like there was 10,000 Twitch partners before the pandemic out of like 2 million streamers. And now there's like 40,000 because of how much streaming went up. And out of the 40,000, there's maybe 100 of them that make enough money to do it sustainably and like as a full-time job and get sponsorships and like are known as big streamers. So there is a huge gap.
Where are you? How are you at closing in that gap, or have you already closed that gap?
I wish I could close that gap. No, my main income's from my day job, but because my engagement's really good on Twitch and I have like, it's so funny. Like we could just talk about the analytics of content is that nobody cares how many followers you have, how many subscribers you have, how much money you make off something. All they care about is how well you engage with your audience. Mm-hmm. They're like, okay, like there's a big streamer that has 30,000 followers, but if their average is only 30 viewers, then their engagement's not good. But
I refer to it as like, and I think I am very good in that regard, in that I have accepted that like cult status in this world where I know that I'm not going to hit that like big mainstream where like people are going to want to pay for sponsorships and things. I have a small but like furiously supportive fan base.
Violently supportive.
Yeah. That's kind of how it has to be with me. That word has to be it. Violently. Yeah, that is about right. But you do make money
Yeah, I do
Streaming,
make, it's very good. I mean, I make more money doing than comedy, but I've been doing comedy three
yeah.
times as long. So
Well,
if that
it's
tells you
also
anything,
you live in Los Angeles, so you're not
yeah,
making money in comedy.
I know. So when I moved here, everyone was like, "Oh, good luck making money in comedy." It's like comedy was never about the money.
No, no. If you got that job into for money, you're kind of a tool.
Yeah.
Like that's not what this is. This is therapy for people that
Also, you would
can't
not be
afford therapy.
streaming. If I
Yeah.
wanted to do comedy full time, I would be not, I would be somewhere right now trying to get stage time.
Yeah, right. Some like one of those random like 24-hour open mics where you're just like, I think I want to die. I think I want to
Right?
leave and die and never come back. Because
Yeah.
that's the energy that you get a lot of times from this career path. But yeah, I mean that is hard. That's actually why when we do Mint on Card, we try to pay out pretty well. And I think because we did a free show, and I think your group got like maybe $50 or something like that off of the.
Yeah, I mean, it is funny. Like the Seattle and LA culture and comedy is so much different because in Seattle, it's like you have maybe 200 comedians fighting for like 10 clubs, which is very, very competitive. But once you got in on those places, it was like so much easier to get features and headlining spots. You made pretty good money. Like I was breaking even between comedy and streaming. And then I moved here and it's like, you don't make any money, but you may have a celebrity on your gig that won't remember you.
Yeah, you make connections. I mean that's the other thing too, is that it's you're also relatively, I think, new in the LA comedy scene, where the thing is, yeah, celebrity that will forget who you are until they don't.
Yeah, I'll just
And then
shove it in their
it's,
faces every time.
yeah, hey,
That's
for
why I wear
me,
heels everywhere. So they were like, "Well, I don't remember you, but I remember you being huge."
yeah, you in heels, that's what, 6'1"?
Yeah, with heels I could be 6'1" or 6'2" if I'm feeling spicy, you know.
Look at that.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
towering over in a T pose, be like, "Remember me." And
And
then
that I know. Okay, so here's something weirdly that I know that you sort of have been discussing lately, which is a trope in comedy, but something that you're going through, which is dating is hard. I recently, in my research, which I do, watched an episode of Dumb Pitches with Monica Nevi,
I was on there.
where you were on there and you were talking about dating and sort of the
The
nightmare
gaming one.
of this guy. So you went on a date with a guy.
I went on a date. I could told. I'm not going to name drop him, but yeah, basically, I went on a date with a guy who was not into gaming and wanted to impress me, and so he wanted to take me to an arcade, which was like, whatever. Yeah, the guy is like a coach. He used to be a coach for like the Sounders. Like he was like at the time I was in my early 20s. I
Okay.
know my joke makes it sound like it was more recent. No, no, no. I don't waste time on people. No, I was in my early 20s and at the time I was like, "Ooh, this person's associated with a big thing." So I was like, "Yeah, I'll go on a date with him, you know." So he took me to a bar called GameWorks, which is in Seattle, and it's like a big, you know, barcade type, and we were playing one of those like House of the Dead, you know, time crisis games. And
Yeah.
he was getting really frustrated because he couldn't figure out how to reload his gun. And I remember like I make a bit about it on stage that obviously makes it way funnier, but basically kind of got I got really annoyed with him, like
For not
because I was
understanding.
in gamer mode and he was just like, "I can't figure this out," and like complaining. And I'm like, "Well, I'm still playing, so you can just fucking wait." Like I got a little snippy with him. And then after that, he like got really, really quiet. And like we went to the bar to go get a drink. And then he was like, "You know what? I'm done." And he just left me with an
Yeah,
open
you
bar
say he
tab.
straight up abandoned you with a tab. You had to have your dad pick you. It's and I certainly don't need you to rehash this because I think
Oh no,
everybody
no, no.
should
It
listen to.
actually gets worse than what
Okay.
I said in the podcast in a funny way, is that not only did my dad have to come pick me up, but this was the days before Uber. So my dad had to drive me back to his house to get my car. And my car was inside my keys were inside of his house.
Hmm.
And he was already at home like ooh, sobbing in his masculinity about me beating him in a game. And I had to like go awkwardly get in there and be like, "Hi, my dad's here, I need to get my keys." And then he like tried to like hug and kiss me goodbye. I'm like, "You just abandoned me at GameWorks."
Yeah, you're like,
Which
why do you, that? What that
yeah.
is? It's funny when we talk about like toxic masculinity and how people are just like, that's people trying to get into fights in traffic and stuff like that, or like that's people that are going out
I must be
online and
very
harassing women.
toxic.
And then you view something like that, you're like, that also is a form of like that is also toxic masculinity. That idea of like this guy can't wait out a bad date. You know, like he can't be like, all right, well, we got through it.
It's also how you can tell someone's on a gamer. Because if I was playing that game, I didn't know, I would just let the person finish and then say something. Because I'm like, clearly they're still in the game. I'm not going to interrupt. But
Yeah.
he kept like nudging me, and I was like, ugh. And I'm not mad that he left me at GameWorks because like
You
I
should
love
be.
GameWorks.
No,
I'm
you
mad
should be
that my
mad that
dad
he
had.
left you anywhere.
No, I'm mad. I meant like being left at GameWorks wasn't
Yeah.
that bad because the guy at the bar saw it happen. He ended up giving me my drinks for free. And then he was like, "Oh, I'm really sorry about that. What a dick, blah, blah, blah," right? I was more upset that my dad had to pick me up.
Yeah, that's Dad. Yeah, it did go well. You got to come pick me up. It is that is dating. So like what I'm getting at is dating in LA, I think is hard.
Oh,
It
it's
is
so much worse.
it is hard, especially I think you're going to have a very difficult time because this is a city with a drastically reduced average height. And
Is
not
that what?
well, here's the thing though. I'm not saying that that's like a you thing. I'm not saying you're going to have a hard time because people are too short for you. I don't feel like that's the energy that you bring. I feel like there's going to be a lot of guys that are not going to be stoked when they say they're 5'10 and
Oh
then they
yeah,
find out that they're
absolutely. I
5'8.
mean, I think dating's hard here versus Seattle because in Seattle they still have a little bit of the traditional sense where it's like, okay, now that I'm in my mid 30s, like I got to set my ego aside and try to find somebody, which is like, yeah, guys, grow up, you know. And even though when I was in Seattle, I was very casually dating, it was still kind of hard because I couldn't connect with everybody. It was like after the pandemic, all the cool, grungy people from Seattle left or settled down. And then all like the weird techie Tesla bros replaced all them. And so every guy I went on a date with seemed like he was made by an AI app. Like it was just like
It's
a
really
walking NFT everywhere I went. And then I come here and it's like you get that. You don't get the weird techie bros here, but you do get men who are still in their 40s thinking, "No, I can still date a 20-year-old."
I don't get that with guys
Yeah,
like
because
whenever
you're
I
a
think
decent
about
human
guys my
being.
age dating somebody in their 20s and you sit there and you're like, what would we ever talk about?
That's what I'm
Because
thinking. Like, what are the conversations you guys have together?
and they're like, no, 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 no. It's just she's hot. And I'm like, okay, look, I get that. I fully understand that somebody's attractive, but there will be times when you're not fucking. And what do you do during those times? And it ends up becoming this really like creepy, like almost like pederasty of like trying these men trying to like mold somebody into what they want. And I'm like, that's what you want? Like,
Oh, absolutely.
that's so weird to me.
And it's LA. Like everyone here is just trying to be more attractive than the next person. Like that's a lot of just what LA is, especially if you work in entertainment. So for guys, it's like even though there's women my age in their mid 30s that are fine, they're like, okay, but like in like 5 years, Lisa might have a fupa, you know? So I want to go for someone who's like 25 that's going to be hot until she's at least 35. And I'm like, A, you guys know nothing about women. And B, that's predatory and disgusting.
But
So,
it's also low key like sociopathic.
oh,
Like,
absolutely.
I don't know, man. I'm not looking forward to this. I'm really not. I'm not like currently in a dating way and probably won't be for quite some time, but just the idea of me being like a 41-year-old divorced man being like, "Hey, you guys like podcasters? You guys like
But
white male
but here's the
podcasters?"
thing is that women, so I went to a singles mixer last week
I saw that.
just for the fun of it.
I was like,
Just to
"Why would you do that to yourself?"
Well, my friend goes to all of them and she loves them. She doesn't care about meeting someone. She makes a lot of friends. And I made a couple friends when I was there. But I went there and it was a very eye-opening experience. It was literally 90% beautiful women in their mid 30s. Like I'm talking about eight to tens, like all gorgeous women. And then the last 10% was like creepy dudes that were either in their 50s or below the age of 30, which tells me the guys between 30 and 50 are going for the ones that are not at this. They're going for like the 20-year-olds. So then you have like this whole pool of women who are in their mid 30s that are just like, like it'd be nice to date and they're all beautiful, but like, like if I go on a dating app, very rarely am I going to find someone like my age because normally they're like, I'm looking for like 25 to 30, 33, 34, a little too old.
I've been
It's so
very
weird.
I've been very lucky been very lucky. I think I'm very lucky to hit that idea of me understanding that I am into age appropriate women, where it's like you don't know, like there are things you never know about yourself until you're faced with those things. And that's one of those things where I was like, oh, thank Christ. Like you're like, thank God I'm not into like 18-year-olds. Because those kind of guys I view as kind of like the bottom of the barrel.
Which, you know what, I will say for a second, the good, like, I'm not into younger dudes, but the 25 to 30-year-olds love hitting on me because they're still like fresh out of college. Like, we're just trying to have fun. I want to date an older chick because she knows about that.
That
And even
cougar
though,
energy that you think,
yeah,
or Puma energy,
I've been
right?
told I have the divorcee energy before. And I'm like, what you mean is that you found a woman in her 30s that hasn't been married or has kids. That's what they mean.
I like that for a woman, it's like you have divorcee energy. And for a guy at my age, it's like you have divorced man energy.
I literally have a bit on stage about that. Like,
Really?
divorced men versus divorced women is like, there's a big difference. But like, as long as you don't fall in that trap of like, I'm gonna go on this date and this like spiel all of my junk onto somebody, then you'll be fine.
Yeah.
It is, I do think like my roommate is in his 40s and he also struggles with dating, and we talk about what we struggle with, and it's very funny. For guys, always hear when I go on Bumble and I match with someone, they don't ever message me, you know, and then I feel discouraged. For me, I match with someone and then Bumble says, you have 24 hours to message them or you lose them forever. And guess what? I don't check the app every day. So I'll go back in there in 2 days and lose all my matches.
Woof.
Or I'll
I've
message
never
them
been on an app.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
used
they're the worst.
I used match.com. This is
Explain that to your next 22-year-old date you go on. No, just kidding.
I went on match.com in like 2005. And it really was just because I was teaching in my hometown. And I was like, well, I know what's here in this population is 12,000. So I was like, I need to at least, and I embraced it. I was young. I was young when I was on there, but then I ended up getting like weirdly like, I mean, I ended up dating a couple of girls, some that I'm actually still good friends with, but then I would get these like people that they would like do like a soft catfish where they would have these like photos and then you'd show up and they look so different and it was the same person. And then I'd be like, well, why were you not honest? And then they'd be like, you don't want to date me because I'm heavier than I was in my pictures. I'm like, no, I'm actually just really weirded out by the fact that you were like lying about certain things.
Men
like,
do the same thing with height.
That's weird.
Like I am very honest. I'm like, yes, I'm like 5'10", 5'11", somewhere between those. And guys will be like, I'm 5'11", I'm 6'1" on the app, whatever. I meet up with them, they're like 5'7". I'm like, look, I don't mind dating short guys. I don't want to date a liar though.
I always feel like that's such a weird thing to misrepresent because you're like, you're not going to keep that secret.
I think it's because they want to charm you first so that you forget about it.
I think I'm going to acknowledge the fact that I come from a place of privilege, height wise, that I'm like, why are these people lying about it? I would never lie about my height. Well, I guess I don't need to because I'm at a fetish height. So it is what it is.
I am if you're under 5'5". The short guys, that confidence of them being like, I want to climb you type shit. I'm like, oh, okay. Guys who are taller than me are like, I don't like this.
They don't like that you're shorter than them?
No, I don't know. It's just weird. It's like the taller guys always want someone. I think it's because they want to feel like power, you know? And this isn't all. This is just based on experience, obviously.
I guess that's maybe the veneer of Los Angeles where.
Oh, it was very Seattle too.
That's it.
I think it's just like I think it's just like post-pandemic people. I mean, I don't think I got like this, but I have noticed a lot of people now are trying to either rush through things that they missed in that year or 2 years that we were isolated, or they just became completely honest in a bad way about things.
Yeah. Yeah. I've always sort of represented myself in dating. I've always been like aggressively honest. Like I'll take them to something like, you know, I'll show up wearing like a t-shirt and jeans and you know, I'll wear a hat and I'll be like, here's a restaurant that I really like to go to and here's pinball. This is a thing I like to do. Do you hate everything about what's going on right now? That's fantastic. We don't have to keep going with this, but it's like I do want to like offer the full honest sell on date one so they know I'm like, look, this is what it's going to be a lot. This is who I am, and it's not all the time, but this is the vibe I give out. Do you hate it?
That's
You
good.
might hate
And
it.
that's a good energy to have
No.
as a man, because most men do not like that, especially when it comes to dating women, because women our entire lives we're never taught to own ourselves, like own how we feel about ourselves, own our emotion, own our sexuality, because we always kind of relied on men to make the decisions for us. And then once you reach our 30s, you realize actually we're matured a lot faster. And now I know exactly what I want. And when you present that to somebody, I mean, some guys would be like, she's wrong. I'm like, well, this is from experience, so I'm not. But some guys don't like it when a woman knows exactly what they want. They want to be able to like kind of keep her like kind of like on this weird, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but kind of just keep her off to the side to be like, I just want to keep her knowing I'm a little interested so that I have control and power over this. And then I have to say, no.
The one thing that I've never understood my entire life, and I don't think I ever will, I know it, but I don't understand it in my head, is the men that are intimidated by a woman that makes more money than them. Because to me, that
I
sounds
will date
awesome.
anyone who makes more money than me.
My
Man,
ex-wife
woman,
made like
cat, I don't care.
triple my income, and that was not a problem. That is not the reason I was like, I missed that.
Yeah.
Where I was like, well, I make a pretty decent living and you make 3 pretty decent livings, which means that together the two of us make 4 pretty decent livings. Yeah, I've never understood that like
I think it's the
competition.
power thing of like I need this person to need me.
Hmm.
And it's like it's obviously revolves around the whole toxic masculinity thing. And like I said, not all people are like that, but women our intuition is pretty solid. Like when we go
Yeah,
on a date with someone, we can normally tell what type of person they're gonna be. And then we do that thing with ourselves because we're done, be like, maybe I can change that. And then you realize by a third date, you can't change that. So you move
no.
on. Like women
No,
are
yeah,
dumb too. We get it. Okay.
people are who they that's why it's called irreconcilable differences, because sometimes people just are who they are, and no amount of wishing and hoping can change
Which
them.
is fine. There's
Yeah.
some women out there who want that, and there's nothing wrong with that. I hate it when women talk down on other women for wanting someone to take care of them. They're like, "Ugh,
Yeah.
but you're your own person." They're like, hey man, if someone came along and wanted to take care of me, I'd be like, all right.
If someone
I'm not
isn't
opposed to it.
if someone isn't actively harming someone, you should never poo-poo what they're into.
Yeah.
Like I've
Everyone was raised
never
different. Everyone has different, wants and needs.
Yes, agreed.
That's why love languages exist or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, what's your love language?
Sparkling water. I
And
just
it's a
need a
smart
lot
one to
of
have.
it.
Yeah, you just have it all the time.
I don't know. I took that test, I think, when I was in a relationship where we're struggling, and then it changed every time I was in a relationship. I think that's it. I
Uh-oh.
think in
You're a
general, people,
chameleon.
yeah, I think in general, when you meet somebody, you adapt to the type of person that they are, and then the things that you want out of that for your own comfort. Because it's like, yeah, you could date someone who is, extremely busy all the time. Like I dated a musician for 3 years who was all out every single night, and that's when I started comedy because I was like, well, now I need a hobby.
Yeah.
And before, like things were fine with us because we both had our own lives, but then eventually it didn't work out because I'm like, we didn't spend any quality time together. So then
If
I wanted,
yeah. If you
and then
don't
I was like,
water the garden, the plants are gonna die.
yep. And then I went with somebody who was long distance, not too long, like 2 hours away from me. And then I was like, well, now, like
It's just
we
like
spend a
I'm
lot,
just basically finding the hardest thing
right?
to do.
And
Yeah.
then I ended up dating someone who's too close to me. And then so it's like it really changes like
Still looking for the
every
third bowl of porridge, huh?
I think in general, it's just like, I think for me, when it comes to, I guess, love languages or whatever, it's just like, I want both of us to have our own lives, but I want to feel secure that we still have ours together, which I feel like is pretty common. But I do know people whose entire life is their relationship or they're completely codependent. And I am not codependent. I am very independent. I struggle having a roommate.
I love having a roommate. Like I very much enjoy, like, as much as I, living alone, as attractive as it is to have that constant silence and whatever, like,
Yeah, as attractive as to be lonely in your own
yeah,
head all the
I
time.
don't hate living with my roommate. She's like my big sister, and it's like a perfect a perfect mix. Did not start the way that a podcast normally starts, which is this is how this works. I
I
met
will
you at Comic-Con. Oh, go
yes.
ahead. No, you're going to say
I will say it is refreshing to not always deep dive into anime and video games, because even though that's where I talk about the most, I love it.
Yeah.
I have other aspects in my life too.
You do. You
I can
do.
offer my insight on, so don't
While you
worry
have
about that.
a My Hero Academia shirt on.
Mm-hmm.
I
Actually, this one's really funny because I got it in Japan in 2015 or 16 when the show just came out.
Mhm.
And so they didn't have a lot of merch, but I bought this shirt, and since it's Japanese, it just says "I've come" on it.
Hell yeah.
But I just love that it says "I've come."
It's good. It's good stuff. I actually
just has
know a
All
little.
Might.
I know a little bit about that show because I've hosted panels for the cast.
Yeah.
And I was the most useless person in the world because when 4 people that work together and do this a lot are on there, you don't need the 5th guy to be like, wow, that's great. And then they just keep going. Like
Moderating's great, isn't it?
moderating sometimes is great. One-on-one moderating is one of my favorite jobs. I do it whenever I can. It's a blast. Well, when it's people that tend to like, with that where it's like, and that was one of the most packed ones. That was like Michigan came out for My Hero Academia because they were like they were yelling the chants and they were having a good time.
Those
And
anime fandoms are psychotic. Yes.
biggest stand-up crowd I've ever had was at Anime Expo.
Yep.
Like 2000. I'm like, why are you guys here? I'm an old man. Why are you here? And they were just so into it. They were so supportive. It was wild to me.
They're chronically online people. All they want is to be entertained. Yeah. Why do you think I do so well in the realm?
What's funny? When I hosted the My Hero Academia panel, my niece and nephew are big weebs, and I was like, oh, this will show them. And I was like, guess what? Your uncle's hosting this weekend, My Hero Academia panel. That's pretty cool, right? And my nephew goes, yeah, I guess if you like mainstream anime. And I was like, hey, how about you go fuck yourself? Like it was such a something you can see on Hulu. How embarrassing for you.
That is the other side of the anime fandom where I'm like, guys, we were bullied for this shit. Why stop trying to pretend that you're cool. You're not cool. There's not to shit on your nephew, but it is funny how how nerd fandom has like gatekeeping has been a thing in everything, sports too, like it's music, all of it. But like anime specifically got so weird about it because I'm like, yes, I get it. Like this thing made you special and now people like it and you have to find a new personality. But just remember, you still like anime. You're a dork.
That's kind of what I said. I was like, don't cite the ancient scripts to me, boy. I was there at the beginning. Because comic fans are very similar, like, Western comics fans have, the stereotype is like, oh, worst issue ever.
Right? 15 years ago, I would have to watch My Hero Academia on 3 different YouTube videos on my dial-up internet, and one of them would have Spanish subtitles.
But
so
you had dial-up like 6 years ago?
15, I said.
Oh, 15 years ago.
Technically longer. No, I think I was in high school. I still had it. But yeah. But
I thought you said My Hero Academia. I'm like, how old is that?
No, I said if we were watching it 15 years
okay.
ago.
I'm stupid as shit. I grew up on, I think, like the tentpole anime. Anime is a pretty soft blind spot for me, but I have seen the ones
You've seen enough.
I've seen a couple of Ghiblis and, Akira and Vampire Hunter D and Ninja Scroll and like the ones that are like the tentpole, Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah,
like
because back in the day, we only had like 15 anime.
Yeah, or you'd have to get pay $60 for 2 episodes of Appleseed at Suncoast Video or something like that. And you'd be like, this is awful.
Yeah, these new anime fans, they realize the privilege they have.
Oh my God.
Most anime has come out in the last 10 years than ever. Like, yeah, growing up, it was like Sailor Moon, Cardcaptor Sakura, which was called Cardcaptors because also people tend to forget that back in the 80s and 90s, not only was it inaccessible, but the Western localizations of them were terrible.
Sometimes, yeah, real bad.
Yeah, like they cut out a lot of big content because back then it's like I guess what was considered for children in Japan was a mildly more inappropriate than it was for Western audiences. So they would change and limit and censor so much of it. So when I started watching like Sailor Moon Japanese like 10 years ago, I was like, oh my God, this is like a different show.
Yeah, there's a lot there. There's a lot different. What's the I remember Street Fighter 2 when they were like, and then here's Chun-Li's tits. And you're like, I didn't know that we were supposed to be seeing these. This doesn't seem like it connects to
These
the
thighs are
character.
doing something to me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, why are you showing the other parts? I it's funny because there's so much that I feel like it's almost like if your room is a mess and you have to clean and you don't know where to start. With anime, it's almost like that.
Clearly, that's a problem for me.
Yeah, you've got a pretty neat spot. Yeah, you keep it tidy. Actually, a lot cleaner than I thought. I mean, I know this isn't a video podcast, by the way, so nobody's going to see this that is listening. But you
just know
for those
Lisa has
speaking,
OCD and
Lisa has
everything is always
a very
clean.
clean, well decorated room with various anime statues and a cat tree.
With
And
3 cats somewhere in here.
You have 3 cats.
I have 2, but my roommate has 1.
I mean, that's pretty good. You guys joined forces to make.
We have a 3-story apartment for a reason. I was like, we can't have like a 900 square feet with 3 cats. So we had to get.
That's a pretty decent sized apartment.
Ours is like 15.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty like we also don't pay too much, which is great. After comparing rent with other people, I was like, wow, we really lucked out in this cat apartment.
Were you guys in the valley or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's why it wasn't that much.
Which I love. I love the valley. When I moved here, everyone was so weird about that. They're like, that's kind of far from everything. I'm like, I'm on comedy hours. It takes me 10 minutes to get anywhere.
Yeah, you're like, I have like a car.
Yeah, I can like go places, right?
Yeah. And then I can go home to my place that isn't going to send me into the poorhouse. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is. I don't mind it. Although today it's 103 degrees out. So that part sucks about the valley.
I'm not leaving. I'm going to go walk across the street to the gas station to buy more sparkling water because I don't even want to get into my hot car. So yes.
Yeah, that's fair. Obviously, we have a lot more to talk about, but there is something that I do want to do because I don't know if you know this, but I have a Patreon, patreon.com/JeffMay, JEFFMAY. If you're listening to this for free, thank you. I like the patrons way more. They get early access to uncensored episodes with bonus content, as well as I have lots of cool tiers where you get stuff in the mail, and a tier where you can be a producer on the show. So I'm going to start thanking a couple of producers, and if there's any questions or anything on this, like, we can go for it. So shout out to the Oatmeal Savage. That's a good one. Shout out to Watch Me Use These Prehensile Nipples to Pick Up Pennies Off the Floor. Check out this month's Nerd with Dre and Jeff. In brackets, Jeff, say whatever you want, including being lazy and just reading this, in which I will say we just wrapped our season on insane sequels to popular films with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. Next month, we got a good lineup coming. We got a good 3 episodes coming, and I don't know if I should spoil it, but a good 80s movie is coming as our first one, so I'm excited about it. Shout out to Eat Shit and Die, The Goonies. You ever see The Goonies?
Yeah, in like the early 90s.
Yeah, you love it?
Yeah, I actually also went to Astoria with all the cool references because I don't know why, but Astoria, Oregon, and like the whole Oregon coast was really big for like comedy movies in like the late 80s, early 90s.
That lady, it ruined her life. She
really
like sold the house. Yeah, she sold it like a couple years ago.
No,
because she was like, it was really bad for her. I guess people were like trespassing and shit. I saw the movie when I was like 8 years old, and I hated it. And I've never understood why. I just don't like that movie. It's made for. It was
Kindergarten Cop's another movie that was filmed there.
Shout out to
You're like, I'm just gonna acknowledge that.
It's okay. Wait, say it again. Real
Kindergarten Cop.
That is fair. Yeah, I do like that movie.
Yeah.
I got accused of being a kindergarten cop one time when I was student teaching.
You kind of have a kindergarten cop look to you.
Oh, I have resting cop face. Yeah, it's a very standard thing. There's nothing I can do about it. I don't like cops, but I look like cops. When I was student teaching at Mount Blue High School in Farmington, Maine, they had apparently just gotten a bunch of like bomb threats or something. And me and my co-teachers, we were instructed, they were like, you're going to want to be dressed well. And they were like, easiest thing to do, white shirt, black tie, black slacks. Like, just wear that and you'll be fine. And so we did, and we'd come in and we had black jackets and stuff. And a lady stopped us and accused us of being the FBI.
Did you have like one of those wires
It was
hanging?
so funny. Well, because we'd come in with like, Men in Black style sunglasses and stuff. And
You
like,
have like a pen. Just don't blink for a second.
she, and she was like, I don't know if I'm supposed to ask, but are you with the FBI? And I was like 19 or like 20 years old at the time. And I just started laughing. I was like, I think their standards are a little higher than us.
You should have said yes anyways.
Yeah, that would have been really funny. Yeah. It was just one of those, like, I guess I had kind of a military style haircut. I had kind of a high and tight, as was the style at the time. But yes, I get it. So yeah, I was accused of being a kindergarten cop, but for high schoolers.
Nice.
It happens.
I've never been accused of that.
I mean, you ever been in a classroom when you weren't the student?
No, but I think I've been accused for someone who went to jail a lot.
Because of the
Especially
tattoo.
in Japan. They're like, you have too many tattoos to be innocent.
And then you're like, have you not had someone like me come to Japan? Because we come here a lot.
I have been not kicked out, but not served at before in the more rural areas in Japan.
Because
of my tattoos.
Of just the tattoos, really.
And probably the fact that I'm like 7 feet tall and a woman that's mixed race. Those are like 3 big no-nos for women in Japan.
And it's half Korean, right?
A quarter Korean, a quarter Mexican, then Native American, Spanish, and German.
Classic. The classic combination that we all
classic mutt.
Yeah, my friend Corey Privatera lives out there as well, and he has sort of like that gaijin in America stuff because he's a sofubi maker. He's also been on the show. Shout out to him. Shout out to Science Patrols. Shout out to producer Mindfreak555 says crayfish number 6 has escaped. Long live crayfish 7 and his lid. We're getting an active crayfish lifestyle experience from there. Shout out to Dan Hackroyd. Shout out to Norm from Cheers. Shout out to Dan Adamski, world's humblest man. Shout out to Bart Fartigan, Justin Wood.
Bart Fartigan is great.
Bart Fartigan. I want to say it in my Boston accent so hard. Like wicked hard. Shout out to the wandering Jolly Holly unpierced left nipple of the Christmas Fool. Hell yeah. A lot of nipple talk in here.
That's really okay.
For it. Yeah, man, whatever people want.
All the nipples, They
pay me whatever I'm going to say. So here we go. Such as eat shit and die, Grand Canyon. You ever been?
I have, but I didn't eat shit and die there. It's just beautiful.
You're like, just the shit.
Just the shit. Just scared of heights.
The energy I bring to this, and if you've listened to the show before, people, you guys know, so it's like broken record here, but like I just feel like I won't be that impressed. Like I'll get there and
for the Grand Canyon,
I'll be like, yeah, that's what it looks like in the pictures.
It is very mind blowing when you see it because it's like one of those things where it just looks like a movie set.
Yeah.
Like you walk up and you're like, this is cool, but everything behind it looks fake. I'm from the Northwest. I've seen lots of, trees. You get a cute little mountain range around here. I like yesterday or 2 days ago into Malibu, I loved driving through like the little Santa Monica hills or whatever. Canyon, but like I'm from the Northwest. Like I see the Cascades and snow and all sorts of deep trenches in the earth. You know?
I do. I mean, we are close to moderate versions of everything.
Yeah.
You're close to a chill desert, some nice little mountains, like small versions of things. Shout out to who wins in the what if crossover we truly deserve. Doo-doo suit Bruce versus doo-doo suit Logan. My God, that is an inside joke. It's a Batman versus Wolverine joke, but wearing their ugly brown costumes. Shout out to the producer formerly known as the ghost of Dave Thomas. I haven't had carbs or sugar in a couple weeks. I fantasize about deli sandwiches now. Dude, just go have a deli sandwich. One ain't going to kill you unless it's the nitrates in the meat. And then, yeah, that could kill you. Do you ever go on like a weird food diets or are you just like, I live my life?
No. I mean, like sometimes I'll just stop doing one thing, but I eat everything and I always love eating. So it's hard for me to like not eat things. If I was to go on a diet for like a health reason, like they're like, if you keep eating carrots, your eyeballs gonna turn green or something, then I'll be like, I'll stop eating carrots for like a week.
You're like, I'm going back to the carrots.
But I have a really bad sweet tooth. It's so hard. Like I drink a lot of coffee too. I have a huge caffeine addiction. That's why I drink like these Waterloo things. They curve my sweet tooth.
The coffee cutter. I have a bit of a sweet tooth. What's your favorite sweets?
Oh. It's hard being here because there's so many bakeries around here.
Okay, so
But like my go-to is anytime I buy candy, I have to buy something gummy and then something with either white chocolate or dark chocolate. Not a big milk chocolate person.
Those are so opposite.
I gotta cater to one side. One person, one side of me craves the chewy sweetness. The other one craves like the creamy chocolate.
No, I meant the two chocolates that you like are so eternally opposite. I
Oh
understand
yeah.
the gummy
What
and the
I like to
chocolate
do is
aspect
I
of it.
like to get a Hershey's cookies and cream, and then I like to get your face is like those are the best.
White
And
chocolate is just so foul to me.
I love it. I only like Hershey's cookies and cream though. Like I don't really like all the other white
You're
chocolates.
cutting it
Some
with
of the fancy
chocolate.
white chocolates good. Ghirardelli's white chocolate's really good, but also get a salted caramel dark chocolate, and I'll like do one of each, and those together is a beautiful combination.
I like white chocolate in peppermint bark, but that's
Yeah,
really
that's
just
a good
because
one.
it's dealing with
There
dark
has to
chocolate
be
and
an added thing to it. Like you get the cookie crunch in the white chocolate of the
yeah.
Hershey's cookies. I could talk about sweets for like a half hour. I'm just
Same.
letting you know.
Yeah, no, I mean that's not something that I don't understand. Like I mean because it's
I have been
I've talked
smoking
about
weed for like 20 years of my life. I absolutely love candy.
I have been eating candy weed for 2 years of my life.
See, I'm not a big fan of candy weed as much. Like I'll do it like if I get like a tattoo appointment, like I'll usually eat like a CBD gummy to like kind of ease the
I'm out,
pain.
yeah.
Or same thing with sleeping, but I don't like the idea that I think I'm gonna eat candy and then taste like shit.
Oh, I've found stuff that tastes great, and that's what I go for. Is I'm like, I just want to go to sleep comfortably.
I love it.
This was
That's
good.
cute.
Shout out to Aldo Vargas is a couple months behind on his podcasts, but he'll hear this eventually. Aldo, we love to hear it. Hope you're enjoying your Christmas. Hi, your friendly neighborhood mortician here. Phone and email passwords can unlock a lot of your financial info. Consider sharing them with someone you trust. There you go. Always good information from her. Shout out to Mr. Billy Beck. Shout out to the Tubi Terror Bunny says support workers, egg Bob Iger, unless that's legally actionable, in which case please swap in a Hollywood producer for Bob Iger. Fair enough. And then finally, shout out to that scene in Meet Joe Black where Brad Pitt dies. Classic.
Spoiler alert.
Great producer. Spoiler alert for the first 3 minutes of the movie. And so if you guys want to get a part of that, head on over to patreon.com/JeffMay. We can get early access to uncensored episodes of this show with bonus content, as well as shows like the co-exclusive Patreon with Kim Crawl, Ugh Fine. We have
You offer video recording as bonus content?
I thought about it, but I don't think I could afford the editing for it. And it's hard.
They just post the raws.
I mean, well, I do on YouTube. No, I don't want to do that because sometimes people are like, "Can you edit this out? Can you edit that out?" I do release a audio version of the podcast on YouTube that just has the logo on it. But what I don't want to do is a lot of times people like, "Is this video? Do I have to do my hair?" And I'm like, "No, you're fine."
Well, I guess it's different for me because it's like once we're done with this, I'm immediately gonna go live. I'm like, here I am, as I was all day.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I'm not necessarily against the idea. It's just, I pay an editor and producer and, to do video editing, that would, I think, extremely.
I just bought a new webcam and like I had a shitty webcam up until I live here. Now I have a nice webcam and I'm like, it blows me away. But then sometimes if I get too close, I'm like, oh, I don't like how you can see all my acne.
Pull it back.
It was a little too nice. So now I'm just always back here.
It's not very visible. It's not visible at all. You're fine.
Now I'm fine. Yeah. It's just my entire body's burnt from being on the beach. But anyways.
What's Evil Geniuses?
Oh, well, glad that you asked because we just won the Valorant World Championship on Saturday, which means job security for me. What up?
Literally, what?
So Evil Geniuses is an esports org. We were really big, a few years ago from our Dota team, which is Defense of the Ancients. It's one of those big online multiplayer games. But we also have a league and we have Valorant teams, which they're owned by Riot, big, giant video games. I'm talking to this as if someone who doesn't know what esports is.
Yeah.
And then we also have like CSGO. We had a Rocket League team. We have a bunch of other ones, but our main ones now are
Rocket League is soccer with cars.
Yes, right? But we don't, I think we just got rid of our Rocket League team, but right now we have Valorant and League, which are our biggest ones because those are the money makers. But yeah, esports is just regular sports for gamers, basically. But my job is that I don't work on the esports end. So all the other esports organizations were ahead of their time before us, where they had like, okay, for example, we have big sponsorships. Like LG is one of our biggest sponsors. They gave me my speaker and my monitors, which is really nice.
Shout out to LG.
Huh?
Shout out to
Yeah,
LG.
shout out to LG Ultra Gear. LG Ultra Gear specifically because it's the gaming stuff. So like when they sign their contracts with us, they want us to do advertising and they want us to do content. They want to get money's worth out of us, like put on ads or maybe do like come to their headquarters and like try to do some Valorant stuff. And so instead of sending the players, because the players are usually really busy with, you know, all their practices and whatnot, and normally they're not ones that want to be on camera unless it's for competing. They have a team of my people who are really good on camera. And so instead of sending like a 17-year-old from Sweden that doesn't speak English very well to try to sell an LG Ultra Gear monitor, they send Lisa to do it.
I will add that your introduction video that's on YouTube
It's so dorky.
is super funny. And to a point where I laughed out loud pretty hard.
It's so silly. We did that in 2 days.
It's great. Like, it's really funny. Like, I watched it because, you know, I
do your research, right?
I do my research. And I was going through and they were like, they brought you in, and it's just, I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but you should watch it and then also read the comments, because the comments are just people not getting a part of the joke. And then somebody in the comments being like, that's the joke, which I thought was really funny.
Yeah, we did a lot of inside jokes with my community because I thought it was just going to be like for my thing, but then they posted it publicly and I was like, oh, some people are not going to get this, which is fine. It was still really funny, but there are some things in there that's like only my community would have known about it. So it made my Twitch stream feel very special.
I will add that what your community, the very subtle jokes that the people wouldn't get, it doesn't detract from the video.
Yeah, the video is they hired this girl and she's annoying in the office. And honestly, to this day, over 2 years of being with the company, I still am.
Hey, you know what? You nailed it.
I really nailed it. But when I first started, they didn't know what to do with me. They were like, we just want you to work for us because we think you're funny. We're going to give you, and they were freelancing me to do commercials for like one of our old sponsors. And they were like, well, it's cheaper for us to just hire you than to keep contracting you. So they just hired me, which is great because I was like, this is more money I was making in my last job. But yeah, for a while, I just kind of lingered and was like doing random things. Like I'd help write like a script for like a league announcement video, or I'd do a commercial, or I'd produce something. And it wasn't until my second year in where they really nailed down what my job title was, which is basically like a content producer. Mm-hmm. And they were like, finally, we have a title, even though she's also in things and also does other things.
I'm jealous that the corporation that hired you knew what to do with you. Like they figured it out and they stuck with it, because that happened to me with a very big company, and they were like, we like what you do. And then they were like, but you can't behave the way you were behaving before, even though they hired me for one thing, and they were like, you can't say those things on your social media.
Pretty sure there's still things I can't do that I do, but they don't care. Yeah. So
yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, it was very, very much one of those things where I was like, do you not know why you hired me? And I think you got very lucky in working with Evil Geniuses, and it seems like a good crew of people that you're working with here. And did you move here for that, or?
I asked if I could. They didn't pay for it, but they do have an office here. And I was like, can I just move to LA since we have an office? And they're like, okay, but you're paying for it. And I was like, great. Because I was going to move here without having you as a job years ago. And now I have a job and would much rather move here with that cool job.
Do you go to the office a lot?
I've been like 3 or 4 times in the 3 months I've been here. It's a great office.
No. Yeah, that's a no.
It's a great office. I go in only to film stuff.
Okay.
Like if I come up with like a content plan where I'm like, okay, I want to film this, but has to be in the office, or I want to interview a player, or we want to do this. The office is just like, we have a facility you can film in that isn't a bedroom. So It's a cool office, but it's been kind of empty lately because we've been in competitions and stuff. So I've just been doing at home stuff.
I was an Uber driver, if you can believe it. Comedian Uber driver.
I was a Lyft driver.
And I picked this guy up at Riot Games, and he was a gamer from like Finland or something.
I probably know him.
You very well probably do. And I was asking him, I was like, what a fun career that you have. What a great thing. And he just looked at me like, you think this is fun? this game, I hate this game now. He was like so jaded by it because he's just like, no, when it becomes your life, it becomes miserable
And
because you're smoking the whole carton of the game.
yeah, it's the same thing with like, it's kind of the same thing with any form of entertainment, I would assume. Like, I've just now gotten to like my second wind of like loving comedy, but since I was doing it in Seattle so long, there's nothing wrong with Seattle, but when you see the same people and work with the same people every day for 9 years, it gets kind of,
Yeah.
it's not exciting anymore.
Now, because
Yeah.
the people that oftentimes, not every time, but a lot of the people that have larger designs on what they want to do with their careers leave. And that, some don't and do great where they are. And some do, and they want to go to New York or they want to go to Los Angeles or Chicago or someplace where the opportunities are going to present themselves a little more attentively, I think is a good word, like more availably. Availably? That's not a word.
Availably?
Now, why am I making up words now? I don't even know. I'm super dumb.
The English language is stupid anyways, so it
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
it's absolutely ridiculous. So, you're here, you came here, and that was the thing I was talking about was when we first met, we met at Comic-Con through a mutual friend, TJ Chambers, who
Shout out to Tej.
shout out to TJ, who has done the version of this show that was on the other company, good buddy. And we met you and you were super cool, super nice, and we got along very well. Late too, later than I'm used to staying up. I was probably a bit of a bitch because it was so late. And I was like, I don't know if I'm so sorry.
Yeah, Comic-Con, I mean, conventions in general will do that for you.
Yeah, they're so exhausting. I did go to Comic-Con alone this year, and it was surprisingly great.
I did, but I barely went because I was doing stuff with IGN the whole weekend.
Yeah. I
But
didn't
it was
want to go
nice.
alone.
It was nice to feel like an actual comic book convention versus like a Hollywood one.
Yeah, that was the reason I ended up going was because I was like, well, we're never going to get this version of Comic-Con again. That we're never going to get a no actors
Yeah, way less
Comic-Con
hot
again. Like
people.
San Diego ended up being, it was a lot of fun. I didn't want to go alone, but I did enjoy going alone. It was like one of those things where I'm like, all right, let's make lemonade. I paid out the ass for a hotel room just because I got it last minute and hung out. And
It's
just
fun.
and went back to my room when I wanted to go back to my
I
room.
barely got to do anything because I was stuck in IGN studios all day, which was great. Beautiful studio. And then I ended up getting COVID.
Yeah, that's not great. That's probably
So that
not the
was
best.
fun.
Yeah, a lot of people got COVID there. I have since avoided it during the most recent research, but there's a real knock on wood energy to that because yikes. You post a lot of sponsored content. Today, you got Chainsaw Man gear today as of recording. You got some
Heck
Chainsaw Man
yes.
stuff from, what is it, Novi or
Uniqlo?
Uniqlo? Yeah. How did that end up coming about?
It's so funny because I think for about 5 or 6 years, I was a pretty big active person in the anime community. Like I was doing a lot of like side work for Crunchyroll, like helped write the Crunchyroll Anime Awards. I did some watch party content for toy animation during the pandemic. And then I started streaming and I just kind of fell off because I was just playing so many video games. I just kind of transitioned to more of a gamer content. But those companies still all really like me because like a lot of the big anime stuff now, as your nephew mentioned, callback, is very mainstream. Like it's very much like My Hero Academia, Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, which are all great series, but it's oversaturated. It's everyone's doing that thing. But me, I've always been like kind of all around all sorts of anime fandoms, and because I'm also a little older, like I still get the benefits of somebody who is still pretty active in the community. And also I just have a good following. Like people have already messaged me like, oh yeah, I want to buy that shirt, but it was sold out. So it's like, yeah, like I still get good engagement. Like a lot of people who follow my stuff, I thought it was almost exclusively stand up now because of Instagram, but turns out I still have a lot of people who are into anime and video games that follow me. So those brands will be like, hey, Lisa's still relevant. Let's send her some shit.
That's pretty decent. I like that.
Yeah.
I get that with Chalkline. Chalkline will send me stuff. And I'm like, I'm not a big account at all. And I probably never will be. And
Yeah.
I'm always like, why are they doing this? But then if I wear one of their jackets, like if I put their jacket on and I walk out, people are like, where did you get that? Where did you get that satin Tetris jacket?
That is 90% of my wardrobe is where did you get that?
Yeah.
Where did you get the I've come shirt?
Where did you get that I've come shirt? Japan. I must have it. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I have that I've been gifted that I like don't fit in anymore, and I don't know what to do with it. So I'm just like, do I donate it? Do I sell it? Like stuff that can be pretty valuable.
Give it away on the podcast Patreon.
You know what's funny? I have this one prototype shirt that was through Sideshow Collectibles, the old company that I had. They were doing a collab with Famous Monsters of Hollywood to do shirts on their IP that they do, Twisted Souls or whatever it was called. And they had these shirts and they made like 20 of them total. And I have one and I'm never going to wear it. And I'm like, what do I do with this?
Oh yeah. A lot of the stuff I get is like really limited edition stuff.
Yeah.
So like I wear it. The funniest thing is like sometimes I'll get like anime that I don't watch, but I still wear it because I'm like, this is really comfortable and limited edition. And somebody on the street somewhere will like it and ask what it is. And then I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm also into these series. It's a good conversation starter, you know?
If I were, let's pretend for a second I'm an elder millennial with a mild background in anime, having seen the classics.
Yes.
What would you suggest for somebody like me if I was like wanting to dip my toes into the anime world?
Well, since you are more into Western animation, I would suggest, honestly, it's always my go-to. A really big one is Mob Psycho 100.
Okay. But keep in mind, I have a history of Western animation, but that doesn't mean that that's where I'm.
It is, I would say, the easiest for somebody who isn't into anime to get into, and it offers kind of everything you need. And it's only, I think, total like maybe 30 something episodes, 36 maybe.
Yeah.
It's 3 seasons of like 12 episodes each. And it's one of my favorites. The animation's beautiful. The characters are great. It's much different and refreshing compared to other big ones. A lot of ones, they all kind of blend in together animation wise and like character design wise, but Mob Psycho specifically really sticks out.
Yeah. I have seen, I think, the first 7 or 8 episodes of an anime called Hajime no Ippo.
Oh yeah, that's like the broiest of anime.
I mean,
that's pretty bro. It's a good bro anime.
Look, man, I was a boxer. I fought in the Golden Gloves.
It's great, and I mean, and that's also a classic. That's a really classic anime too. And I think the manga's still going.
I would think so. Yeah, there's I think like 138 volumes of the manga, and there's only like 76 episodes of the anime.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But yeah, that's a boxing one. The DVD was sent to me by a listener who was like, you would love this. And I did really like it. I liked that it wasn't this, that there was a lot of failure in it, which is like, it's mildly depressing to say. I like all the failure.
I will say, like, a lot of people aren't too much into sports anime, but sports anime, like, I'm not into baseball. I watched like 200 episodes of a baseball anime because I just loved, I mean, I think it's
story.
Yeah, and it's relatable in the sense where it's like you're challenging yourself to do something, and it goes in depth on how to get over those hurdles. And sports is like the rawest form of that.
Yeah.
Because if you're like writing a paper and then you reread it and you're like, oh, this isn't good, and you write another one, you have a whole audience of people watching you fail and like get better at it or watch your methods on how you do something. Yeah. So sports is always like a good metaphor of showcasing those issues.
Do you like any sports?
I played soccer a lot, and I actually played a lot of indoor until I moved here, and I might try to do indoor again in the winter. I really like soccer football.
You can just call it soccer. We're in America. I'm not.
I love going to sporting events. Yeah. Like if someone invites me to a baseball game, football game, basketball, that's like I want to go. I love going to sporting events. Even Evo, which is esports. I'm like, I just want to be around the crowd. I like the energy. I absorb other people's energy, and I want to be around that good energy.
Yeah.
Unless we lose. I don't want to be around that. But you know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, I get it. I do like going. I like going to certain sporting events. I hate going to American football games. I was like, I'll just watch that on TV. That's not a fun thing for me.
Oh, I don't want to pay for it, but I'll go.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll
pay for baseball because that's like $10.
Yeah. Going to Angel Stadium has been actually really fun. Going to Anaheim and watching the 2 greatest baseball players alive on the same team is fascinating. You know, like with Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout. It's really something to behold. And you're just
It's
like,
going to be very interesting going to Japan because when I was there last time, anytime I'd say it from Seattle, they said Ichigo.
oh yeah.
But now I'm like, I wonder if they're still going to do that. Because,
They
he doesn't really.
might. I mean, he's a legend
Yeah.
because he was a legend in NJP and in America. So like, when you look at like the greatest Japanese baseball players of all time, it was Ichiro on top and then Hideki Matsui probably right below him. And now Shohei, even though Shohei's career is very, very young,
Yeah.
it's nearly impossible to have anybody even come close to what he does.
I mean, I watched a whole anime about Japanese baseball, and it is very interesting to see why they love why baseball is so big in Japan, like because it's American sport. And they said in the anime that I was watching, it's because the way that Japanese people work is like they want to be very direct and they want to know exactly what their role is in everything that they do.
Mm-hmm.
They're like machines. Like this isn't racism. This is literally their work ethic. That's also why they excel in a lot of things is
It's
because
always
they
good to start something with this isn't racism.
this isn't well, I've had someone be like, that's racist. I'm like, no, it's not actually. This is why why do you think anytime you're like the reason why this Japanese baseball player is so good is because you give them exactly what they need to do and they focus on that. And baseball is one of the sports where it's like they don't switch their positions too much.
Yeah.
Like it's like they just do the thing that they're supposed to do.
It's not racial, it's cultural.
Yeah.
There is a culture of sort of like
Also, I went to a
work ethic.
Japanese baseball game. Oh my God.
They go crazy.
Incredible energy. And
Yeah, they
like
go, if you ever watch like any of the Nippon League stuff, it is insane.
yeah, and they also like it's like going to a football game in the UK is
Yeah.
going to a baseball game in Japan. It's like the energy, their chants, everything they love it.
Yeah. Yeah. In America's not as fun
No,
when
we
you
just
go
want an
like,
excuse to get drunk in public.
yeah, that kind
That's
of
why I go.
ends up. Yeah. Oh, well, fair enough. I've had one time I had a Minnesota Twin almost fight me because I was heckling him for
Which twin
striking
was
out.
it?
His name was Jacques Jones.
Just kidding. I was saying, did his twin come and fight you? Did the good twin,
Hey,
did the
no, but
evil twin or the good twin?
his center fielder, Torrey Hunter, who I will always love, perennial all-star Torrey Hunter, pulled him away. And I was like, thank you, Torrey Hunter. Thank you,
That's
international
so
superstar
funny.
Torrey Hunter.
So the evil twin came and fought you.
He did. And then he got like arrested for revenge porn. So like, fuck you, Jacques Jones.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good old Americans.
I know we got to start to think about wrapping up soon, but we do have a little Patreon bonus content if the patrons want to stick around, which why wouldn't you? So the anime that you want me to start again, if I were to start, is called
Mob Psycho 100.
Mob Psycho 100. And what's it about?
It's about a kid that has it's very, very anime plot. It's a kid that has a ton of psychic powers, but he doesn't want them. He wants to be a normal kid. But because he has psychic powers, he has to like hide them inside. So he has to like learn how to control his emotions. It's really good though. It's not like, oh, this kid's gonna explode and murder everyone. It's more like he just wants to be liked for who he is and not for his powers. It's very cute.
Oh.
But it's the dynamic between him and this other character in Reagan that makes it really good on top of the studio Bones that animated it did an incredible job. It's a great story. It's just very non-problematic while also being very entertaining from beginning to end.
I do like that. I like
adding non-problematic to that. Yes.
Yeah, no, it's not that happens. So I'm going to name some off and you tell me if it would be a good idea or a bad idea to start watching this one, right? Ready?
Okay.
One Piece.
Yes and no. It depends. Do you want to watch 1,000 episodes?
No.
Then no, it's not good.
Fair enough. Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z, we'll say.
Same thing. Do you want to watch hundreds and hundreds of episodes? It's a classic, but like you can pretty much tell what Dragon Ball is from anything you've seen of it already.
Yeah. Naruto.
Same thing. These are all big. What you're naming off is a lot of long series.
I'm choosing the ones that were sort of ranked out as the most popular.
Naruto is so far my favorite out of all of them.
Death Note.
Death Note's great. So I'd say yes.
Here's one I have seen, Attack on Titan.
Yeah, but you're depressed after every episode. So.
It is a jarring show to watch.
Yeah, I don't want to be traumatized anymore. I've already had in my real life.
I watched the movie on a plane, the live action version, and it was upsetting.
Yeah, that's a good review.
Devilman.
Devilman, yeah. Devilman Crybaby,
Yeah,
better.
that's the one. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
Devilman Crybaby. All right. Demon Slayer.
It's pretty basic.
Yeah.
I feel like if you've already gone through Naruto and all them, then you're not missing anything.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Yu Yu Hakusho.
Fantastic, classic, would
Really?
recommend.
Okay. Ooh, this one. This is one I know of. Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Another one's gonna fuck you up at the end, but really
Yeah,
good
that's they had
moments.
to like redo it with like a movie, right?
Yeah, there's a bunch of movies out. I haven't even seen all of them, but it's a classic. Good mech, good fucked up mech.
Yeah, like Appleseed, right? Another
Yeah,
one? Yeah. Hunter x Hunter.
one of my
Or
favorite shows of
Hunter
all
Hunter, right?
time.
Yeah. Really?
I literally have one of the tattoos character on my arm.
Fantastic. All right. And so what's that one about?
The same writers as Yu Yu Hakusho.
Okay.
Yu Yu Hakusho is almost like the 90s version of it. Historically, it's a very interesting show because it's still ongoing manga, but there's only 148 episodes. It's been around since the late 90s. But the guy who wrote it went on so many hiatuses, and then he would come back and like have like a brand new idea. So it's like one arc in the show is they're doing like a battle. The second one they're stuck in a video game. The next one they're fighting alien ants. Another one they're going to a dark continent. It's very scientific
It has
science
very
fiction.
like X-Files energy to it, it
It
seems.
is. It's very science fiction, but it also like the way it flows into between each arc is very interesting.
Funny story, according to the 25 best anime series of all time, as collated by IGN, the two right next to each other are Mob Psycho 100 and Hajime no Ippo. So that's
See?
really fun. Monster.
Fantastic. Much more for an adult audience. It's really good. It's
Yeah.
like a detective cat chases mouse type thing. Kind of like Death Note, but for adults. I don't know.
Fair
There
enough.
you go.
Cowboy Bebop.
Classic, but I'm not a huge fan.
Fair enough. Yeah, that movie came out and it kind of got some rough reviews of it, huh? Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. They said
Also
that's
a
number one.
good classic. Good classic. That's everyone's number one.
Is
because
it?
it's one of those series that is 100 from beginning to the end. I have some issues with it, but that's from someone who's read all of it and watched it. But yes, in general, instant favorite for everybody.
Good. I mean, that's it. I tried not to throw too much anime at you, but I am fascinated by your wealth of knowledge and my sort of relative
I've
ignorance.
seen like at least 500 series and movies.
That's a bit much. That's
Yeah.
cool. Are you like a big Studio Ghibli fan, or is that just not the stuff that you necessarily, or you appreciate them for their artistic
Yeah,
merit?
I've seen most of them. I appreciate the fact that they are some of them are dated. I think they send really nice messages, but as far as entertainment level goes, there's only a couple I really, really like.
Like Totoro. People seem to think that's the shit, right?
No, Totoro's definitely made for children. Nothing happens. Like nothing really happens. I would say Castle in the Sky is probably one of my favorites. Princess Mononoke is pretty good. But all the other ones, like they're really cool. They got that, the original Miyazaki hand-drawn animation, which is always nice to look at. But in general, like they're not my favorite.
That's totally cool.
I'm more like Satoshi Kon, like Perfect Blue, Paprika. Those are really good. That's a really good art director.
I'm 100% gonna pretend to understand what the fuck you do.
Just another baseball player. That's all.
Fair. Oh, I love to see it. Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, gonna bro out. Lisa, if I want people to find you on Twitch, they find you at Wisal, Wisal.
Yes, if Lisa Wallen wasn't taken from whoever, probably me 10 years ago, I'd have that. But instead, it's my first and last initials switched around. So it's
So
WISA
Lawlen.
or Weasel Allen, whatever you want to call me.
WISALLALLEN.
Nice.
That is also you, I believe, on Instagram.
Instagram, TikTok, Twitch.
So everything. That's just what you've got. I mean, to be fair, mine's Hey There, Jeffro, wherever I go. So like I do the same, my YouTube and my.
One day I'm probably going to change it, but we'll see. For now, it's pretty much become my second identity. So
it feels to me like you're right on the cusp of just having Weasel as your nickname.
It is. Weasel is my nickname.
Oh, well. We got there. You're the next Pauly Shore.
Nice.
That's got to feel good. So what else, other than Twitch and various social medias, what else should people be on the lookout for?
I am starting with Evil Geniuses doing some more original content. Most of my stuff is esports, which is why I don't really share too much of it because it's not really my audience. But now I'm starting to do more original comedy content. So I highly suggest people just follow me on Instagram where I'll be posting most of that. And I also started a second Instagram, which is Lisa Wallen Stream, which is where I post my gaming clips because I'm going to be more active about promoting my Twitch on there. So those are basically like my go-tos now.
So you guys got to follow those. Go to it. Follow Lisa. She is not just incredibly funny, but super cool and just a really, really cool friend to have and somebody that I'm very, very happy to have in my
Oh, we'll have to do another comedy brunch soon.
We need to do that. I'd say that is good to me. That's like perfect for me too, because it's right after I go to the gym. So it's like I just get punched a whole lot and then I can go eat 30 eggs.
Nice.
And that's all I want out of life, really.
That's my day social outing. So I would love it to have another one.
That's how you spend a Saturday, brunch, and then back to the cave.
Yep.
Fair enough. If you guys want to hear more from me, of course, I'm assuming you've been listening to the show for a while, but if you haven't, head on over to patreon.com/JeffMay for early access to uncensored episodes of bonus content of this show. Plus, you can get access to shows like Nerd with me and Dre Alvarez, the monthly show, as well as the monthly Ugh Fine with Kim Crawl. That is a podcast co-exclusive on Patreon with her and I. You can hear Tom and Jeff watch Batman on Gamefully Unemployed, all the stuff I do on You Don't Even Like This, or You Don't Even Like podcasts, including You Don't Even Like Sports, a sports podcast for people who hate sports. You can see me live at Mint on Card the second Friday of every month at Beautiful Blast from the Past on Magnolia in Burbank, California. Our next show is going to be September 8th. Is it 8th? It's
8th.
It's the 8th. It's a fun show. It's really fun. You were great on it, by the way. It's weird, right?
It's an interesting space. I think it's because we had a weird incident there, but I feel like that's just like a normal LA thing where it's like you just gotta expect a weirdo to show up and make the room awkward.
Oh yeah, the tweakers, the little tweakers that were hanging out
my fans. Sorry.
I had to tell them, I was like, I'm gonna have to like throw you out on the ground. And they got up and left and then walked by our mutual friend and former guest of the show, Dan Telfer. And they were like, what a terrible show, huh? Because he was coming back from getting something to drink.
And he's like, no.
He's like, no, it's great. You guys are terrible, which was very funny. Find me at Hey There, Jeffro, where I do all my shows like I Must Break You, where I break non-sports cards. You should do a break. I have some stuff from Japan. They should have you come and do a break with me sometime.
That would be awesome.
Open trading cards on camera. And we talk about why I don't understand what I'm looking at right now.
I actually have like a whole box of Pokemon cards that are unopened that were gifted to me that I still haven't opened yet.
I mean, you should probably open those on Twitch.
I probably will.
Yeah. What series? What group? What's the?
It's in like a weird lunch pail. So I'm assuming they're like the newer ones. I haven't even opened the lunch pail yet. I just know there's a bunch of packs of Pokemon cards in there.
We love to see it. We love to see it.
I have like a binder this fat of every Pokemon card I've ever owned since 1997. So
98, 99 is when.
Yeah, I have some money. I have some really expensive ones that I will not get rid of.
I have a sealed Thunderstorm gift box from 1999. Oh. It's worth about $1,000.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have been looking up some of the ones I have with how good a condition mine are because of OCD. Graded. And I'm like, ooh, I could have paid off my move with some of these, but
we could take a look at them. We could take a look at them and see if they're up for grading, and if so, we can get those graded.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I did the same thing with Elise Golgowski. We haven't done it yet, but she was a big Pokemon fan, and she has a couple of $2,000 cards as well.
Nice.
Like whatever, like the original Blastoise or whatever in good condition.
Nice.
Hey, everybody. If you are listening for free, this is the end of the episode. If you are a patron, stick around because we got a little bonus content coming your way. Say bye to the freeloaders.
You want the freeloaders?
Yeah, you want to say, don't flip them off. Come on. They're still listening.
I did a peace sign.
I know. It's not
they
video,
don't know that though.
So bye, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Okay, bye.
Lisa, welcome back.
Nice.
It's been too long.
I know, right?
We took a nice little break.
10 seconds.
You've been in LA how long?
Since basically mid beginning of May. So almost, wow, 4 months. Oof.
It's like longer.
It does, doesn't it?
I guess because when I met you, because I met you at Comic-Con, what, 2022?
Yeah, and I've also been back a lot. I think I've been to LA 3 times since then before I moved.
Yeah. So it seemed I guess, and because we don't like hang out regularly, I kind of didn't work on that assumption. Favorite things about moving to LA? What are your favorite things so far?
The food. I mean,
Not
obviously.
getting a lot of great Mexican food.
I do. It's so funny. I was a little worried things wouldn't be as convenient, but living in the valley, everything's very convenient.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I can get to most places fairly quickly. Like, I don't think LA people really realize how far most people in like Washington and King County live from each other. Like, people here would be like, oh, it'd take you 40 minutes to get here without traffic or with traffic. I'd be like, it would take me 40 minutes to get to a bar without traffic in Seattle, like I live so far in the suburbs and different cities that like when things are less than 20 minutes to me, I'm like, oh, you're my neighbor.
Yeah, the traffic is dense here,
Yeah.
but everything is within 10 miles.
I also love that I don't see myself getting bored for a very, very, for years. There's way too much things here to see. Too many restaurants, too many venues. Like there's always something going on. And even though I'm a relatively indoor person, I think it does bring me out of my shell more being here. I get more excited.
You're a little karaoke freak, huh?
I am a little karaoke freak.
Because I went to a show you were on. I went to this video game show. It looked like it was like they were filming a sizzle reel or a pilot or something.
Yeah, that was the Bourbon Room was beautiful.
And it was in the Bourbon Room, but it was like all of the people involved. I knew 80% of everyone involved in that. And I've stopped for a while. I stopped going to shows I wasn't on just because I'm so busy.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, my life is a nightmare. I might as well go and support some people that I like. And I did. And it was really fun. And then it was like, the show was over at like 10:45 and everyone's like, now we're going to karaoke. And I was like, no, now I'm going to bed and you're going to karaoke.
Yeah, I guess it's the beauty of having a Twitch and gaming job is that like I still get up early normally. Yeah, like today I slept in, it was like 8:45. Like okay. I'm very usually pretty much a morning person, even though it's kind of rough sleeping in LA because it is a different environment for me.
Yeah. But a lot of gas leaf blowers going off at 7 a.m.
Well, yeah. Also, I can stay up till 2 a.m. and I'll still get up at 7 because of my cats. Like they're assholes.
Oh yeah, I have it with the circadian rhythm. Yeah, I get up at like between 6:40 and 7:30 every morning.
My body is very much trained to never sleep in past like 10 unless I absolutely needed it or I was like sick or something.
Yeah.
So, but no, karaoke, like that's my like not doing comedy outing usually.
It's your go-to song.
Man, karaoke songs are like mood rings. It really depends on what I'm drinking and who I'm with and where I'm at. But usually I'm a big silly person, so I like Tenacious D.
Nice.
If I'm drunk enough, I'll usually sing Wonder Boy. Fly of the Conchords is actually pretty good. But then I also do basic bitch stuff. Like I like Hall & Oates, And
they make your dream come true.
Yeah, I am not a big like basic. I do not like the whole like Journey, Billy Joel type stuff. I'm like, ugh, like that music is just so we get it, Yeah. I try to usually find like a fun song and I try not to go too much like try not to go too mainstream, But I also don't want to choose a song someone else has sang that night, which is very hard sometimes. Yeah. But emo music is also a good one.
I have one song that's my go-to. And to me, it's the funniest song you could ever sing at karaoke. But
which one is it?
It's Christmas Shoes.
Nice.
And the reason I choose it, one, it's super depressing, but the chorus lends itself to you trying to get the crowd to clap along when the kid is singing about how his mother is about to die.
Nice.
And that is fun to try to get people like. My goal is to get an entire karaoke bar to clap along with me while I'm singing the most depressive and insane song that could possibly exist.
You know what? I sing a lot of like Taking Back Sunday, usually because it's like very easy to sing. But I mean, you look at those lyrics on the screen, you're like, yikes, this is not a fun song.
Sometimes people forget about the lyrics of a song. And like, I'll be listening to a song and I'll be like, these are devastating lyrics. And the person's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, did you not hear what the guy said?
Yeah, they're not usually happy songs, but that's why you get drunk and you make them happy.
Yeah, that
The
is
beauty
fair.
of karaoke.
Yeah, yeah, that is something. I've done karaoke a few times. I'm not good enough at not destroying my voice. Like I'll wreck my vocal cords. So if I'm close to a recording day, there's a 0% chance I'm going to do karaoke
Nice.
because I'm like, I will
Not me. I'm about to go talk on stream in a half hour for 4 hours.
yeah, you
And
do.
if
Your
somebody
streams are
asks
long.
me, and if somebody asks me to karaoke after, I will probably say yes.
I mean, fair enough. It's funny you mentioned that you do the streams because I did check out your Twitch. I followed you on Twitch, even though I do not use it. Let's get those numbers up, but also, and it just so happened that that you did a broadcast 2 weeks ago called Take On Meow. That was the one that was at the top. 3 hours, 34 minutes, and 22 seconds. While I was calling that up, I was listening to Take On Me by Weezer.
So
And it
all
was
my stream titles are inside jokes with my stream.
well, yeah,
So I'm notorious for meowing music on stream instead of singing it. And so
really,
the
I do
entire Metal
that.
Gear Solid 5 soundtrack is all 80s music. So I just been making my titles cat versions of the 80s songs that they play when your helicopter comes to pick you up after a war.
That yeah, I do that. I'll be like meow 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 meow.
Yeah,
I
that's me
will.
every stream because like
Oh, okay. I relate to that.
concentrating.
You do something I relate to. That's good. You're a good content creator. You do something. Celebrities, they're just like you. But yeah, no, I actually did. I screenshotted it with the time so you could see that at 1:27, I was looking at that, and then also that Weezer's Take on Me was
Oh,
being
that's
played
hilarious.
at the exact time that I saw that. And I thought that was really funny. Do you do all modern gaming? Do you ever do classic gaming on Twitch?
Oh yeah, I played Earthbound and Mother 3 earlier this year
Oh, nice.
because I've always want to play them. I've redone most of the Zelda games because it's my favorite. I'll probably do a Super Mario RPG one day. But right now I'm just trying to get through my library. I mean, I just played through Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3. Those are all old games
Oh,
because I'm
God.
trying to finish all the Metal Gear Solids.
You're going to do VR missions?
No.
I had that game and I wish I still had it. I loved that game.
No, I definitely like I wanted to get through Metal Gear Solid because I like silly stories and those it's like historically one of the silliest breaking fourth wall games of all time. So no, I loved it and it's funny how some of these retro games are dated, but like Metal Gear Solid specifically still kind of predicted the future as all games did. But also like it's not dated. Like still some of the meta shit was mind-blowing to me. Metal Gear Solid 5 is old. It came out 2015, which I know is not old in the sense you're thinking, but old enough where the hype is done.
Yeah,
Also
the
makes for a
finger
good
isn't on the pulse
yeah.
currently. Yeah.
But tomorrow I'm starting Armored Core 6, which just came out 3 days ago. So
God, I remember the first Armored Core. I loved that game so much for the PS1.
yeah, I never played them, but I love FromSoft, and I think this is everyone who got into Dark Souls. This is their first Armored Core game, so I've been seeing a lot of backlash of how they're trying to play. I'm like, I just have to pretend that From Software didn't make the game.
Is
It's a
Armored Core, is it still mech battles?
Yes.
Okay.
And it looks amazing. That's the only reason I want to play it. Like, it looks amazing.
I mean, I'm in.
And I got into Gundam last year, so.
Oh, did you? You've been watching the anime or?
No, I started building Gunpla.
Really?
Yeah, I have one right here.
Oh, what do you got?
Well, this one isn't really a Gunpla. It's the Super Galaxy Gurren Lagann from the Gurren Lagann anime. But it's sometimes when I stream, I don't want to just look at a screen because it hurts a lot. Like after this, I'm gonna have to like go leave the house for a bit before I start streaming because
close your eyes or something.
To just look at a screen the whole time. So sometimes I'll build Legos or I'll do like Gundam building because it's like I'll have a camera in my hand and then I'll be sitting here and then I'll have a chat up and I feel like I'm not doing something that's just sitting in a chair.
Yeah, fair enough. Because
that's accomplishing something.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I mean, I know you've got a stream coming up soon. And so I definitely hope that you have a wonderful time on that stream. I'm going to let you go rest your eyes for a bit. Lisa Wallen, thank you so much for joining me. You are one of my favorite new cool friends. So
Oh,
happy
thank
to
you.
have you on the
I
show.
also like I feel like being here has been amazing because everyone is so I've made a really good group of friends, you included, in the comedy scene. Everyone's been very welcoming, which I
It's
love.
it's easier to find your tribe.
Yeah.
It's not as limited. You're meeting anime fans everywhere, not just at, you know, anime shops or whatever.
Yep.
All right, Lisa, thank you so much. You are a goddamn delight. Everybody go follow Lisa and all the things that she does. And we will see you back here soon enough with the next episode. And I got lots of stuff coming. So bye, patrons. Thank you. I love you more than the freeloaders. Goodbye.
Thank you so much.
Hey everyone, our artwork is created by Justin T. Brown, who can be found at Artness by Justin Brown on Instagram, as well as artnessbyjustinbrown.com. That dope music you heard is by Troy Nababon, available at Troy Nababon on Instagram, as well as at troynababon.com. Nababon is spelled Nababan, and boy, does that shred. Thank you all so much for listening. See you next time.